Progressives, this is your trigger warning. Hi, folks. Welcome back. And those of you that are new, welcome. From Fox News. I live in New York, so here we go. Now, I don't live in New York City, thank God. I live way upstate. I mean way upstate New York. New York Governor Hochul defiant after Supreme Court gun decision. We're just getting started. Supreme Court ruled that New York overly restricted access to concealed carry permits. What she's saying is, we don't give a good damn what the Supreme Court of the United States says. We're going to continue, whether they like it or not. That, folks, is by definition insurrection. Let's read on. Democratic New York Governor Kathy Hochul, not elected, by the way, trying to be, and unfortunately, this is an election year for governor of New York, so she's going to posture like crazy. She's got to throw raw meat to her base in order to keep them. Warned that her state is just getting started on gun restrictions after the court struck down a gun control measure Thursday. Supreme Court ruled Thursday New York has placed unconstitutionally restrictive limits on residents' ability to obtain a concealed firearm. She called it a dark day. When a person gets your constitutional rights restored to them, only a progressive Democrat will say it's a dark day. We're still dealing with families in pain from mass shootings that have occurred, the loss of life, their beloved children and grandchildren. Today, the Supreme Court struck down a New York law that limits who can carry concealed weapons. Do you think for a minute that some of the teachers in that school, those poor children and teachers that were lost to that monster, that mental, I don't want to get into it. Do you think if any of those students were armed, or maybe some security inside the school were armed, the guy wouldn't last 2 minutes? And that's the entire point of the whole thing. Does anyone understand what a concealed weapon means? That you have no forewarning that someone can hide a weapon on them and go to our subways, go into grocery stores, in stores like Buffalo, New York, where I came from. Yeah, people do. That's why they want them, you moron. They want to protect themselves. Do you think criminals give a good damn what the Supreme Court says and the laws of the state of New York say? They don't care. Does anyone understand what a concealed weapon means? You have no forewarning that someone can hide a weapon on them and go in our subways, go in our grocery stores. Yeah. And unarmed people, that's exactly what they're thinking. That's why they want the concealed carry permit. Jesus, I mean, make me swear. It's incredible to me how dumb these people are. And this is the line that really got to me. Hochul went on to state that she's prepared to go back to muskets through gun restrictions. Now let's take a look at some other morons in their take on Twitter. And here we go. Nina Turner. Why is the court allowed to rule out anything when one of the judges is married to a person who tried to overthrow the U.S. government? Talking about Clarence Thomas's wife. What a crock of bullshit, plain and simple. You never try to overthrow anything. You're an idiot. The U.S. government, 2 other judges were appointed by a man who tried to overthrow the U.S. government. Trump didn't try to overthrow the U.S. government, moron. This is going to lead to civil war, pure and simple. It's going to. And it's going to be ugly. It's going to happen quick, but it's going to be ugly, and it'll set us back 50, 100 years. Has become necessary. This is Keith Olbermann now, somebody with some influence, national influence on media, cable news. It has become necessary to dissolve the Supreme Court of the United States. Take a third of the branch of government, and they don't do what you like, and throw them out. That's what authoritarians do. The first step is for a state, the court has now forced guns upon to ignore this ruling. Great. You're a court? Why and how do you think you can enforce your rulings? And that's the point. They're just going to ignore them. And there's no more state that ignores federal law at a massive, massive scale. The number one state that does that is the state of California, with its flouting and making fun of and just ignoring immigration, federal immigration laws. It's amazing to me. Oh, God. And here's somebody that put in here, all three of these justices were appointed and approved in accordance with the Constitution. That's why. As far as the SCOTUS is concerned, we're stuck with it. Expanding the court is the only option, but that won't be easy. Expanding the court is what authoritarian countries do, like Venezuela. There's another post. Governor Kathy Hochul has to do something about this. This is not what the majority of us want. We want less guns, more regulation. We don't want to be Texas. What the majority wants, well, the majority wanted was women not voting. What the majority wanted was slavery to be allowed. What the majority wanted was Jim Crow laws. It was the majority wanted in Chicago were signs that said no Irish or dogs allowed. Shall I continue? Or is that enough examples of what the majority wanted? I think civil war is coming. I'm finally convinced at this point. And not just the rhetoric from Governor Hochul of New York. This is a small map that I found online. I added some arrows to it to get an idea they had by region about secession from each region of the United States. As you can see, there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 regions. And you can see, you can stop the video. Republicans are in red, independents are in purple, and Democrats are in blue. And what percent advocated for secession? That was a year ago. I'm sure it's higher now. Now, what I did was, I don't think this is the way it will fall down geographically if the separation does occur. The Northeast is pretty much going to be locked in. Might have a difficult time with Western Pennsylvania, but I live in upstate New York, just above where it says 26% in Pennsylvania. I live right above that little circle. And I would be gone. I'd be in Tennessee in a second. I have a place to go. I'd be there in a minute. But up with the little blue dots, I think the states of Nevada, Arizona, New Mexico, Colorado would join California. And I think Idaho, Montana, Wyoming would join the North Dakota, South Dakota, Nebraska, Kansas, Missouri would go with the South. So would Southern Illinois, Indiana, and Ohio. There'd be a bloodbath there. Because if you go to Southern Illinois, it's not Chicago, it's all farmland. And of course, Alaska would align itself with the red states. And of course, Hawaii being ultra blue. And that didn't even count the civil conflict that would come with this. In the economic, just destroys regions of economies. You think the deals in the Midwest with the manufacturing were devastating. Wait till there's a real war. And who's going to get the military facilities? Who's going to take them over? And what state National Guards are going to side with who? It's going to be ugly, like any civil war is. It's not going to be lines like the American Civil War in the 1860s. It's going to be regional conflicts. And it's going to be ugly, and it's going to be bad. And these morons that want to defy the Constitution in the Supreme Court of the United States, this is what they're going to get in the end. So if you want to study this map a little bit, it's just my rendition of it. Give a pause to the video. Now, I'm not going to read this whole article because it would just take too long. What she's basically saying is, I'm going to ignore the Supreme Court of the United States because New York had required a person to show proper cause before being able to obtain a concealed carry license. Since when do you have to have a proper cause to exercise your God-given constitutional right? That's the problem with Democrats and progressives. They think the government has given them permission to have free speech, to bear arms. You go right through the list of the Constitution. No, they are God-given rights. The old joke goes, the Second Amendment is their second, just in case the first one doesn't work out. And that's true, by the way. The proper cause standard knows I want it for defense. Nope. I'm in a really, really tough neighborhood, a lot of crime. Nope. They were denying access to people who simply wanted to protect themselves. Now, the thing is, though, they're saying, well, you don't need a concealed carry permit. Use the gun in your house. What do you do when you're outside? Unbelievable. Because the state of New York, and this is the key to that whole thing, because the state of New York issues public carry license only when an applicant demonstrates a special need for self-defense, we conclude the state's licensing regime violates the Constitution. And that's as plain as English as you can put it. And there are dozens of things coming down. Here's my problem. And there's Hochul. Let's just hear Charlotte what she has to say.
We just received some very disturbing news from Washington that the Supreme Court of the United States of America has stripped away the state of New York's right and responsibility to protect its citizens with a decision which we are still digesting, which is frightful in its scope of how they are setting back this nation and our ability to protect our citizens back to the days of our founding fathers. And the language we're reading is shocking. I will make some remarks as my counsel finds the exact language I want to. Where's Liz?
She doesn't know what the hell to say. This goes against people's rights? Are you kidding me? It's an election year for her. She has to throw raw meat to her base. I get that part. I used to be involved in politics here locally as a local elected official. I get it. But, I mean, she didn't have anything prepared. It goes against what I'm trying to do. And I go back to muskets if I have to. It's governors like this, Gavin Newsom, the governor of Illinois, and many other states. They're going to bring upon this civil war, i.e. maybe peaceful divorce, but it won't be so peaceful as most divorces aren't. There's always angst, animosity, bitterness, and many times hatred. This is what you want, Governor Hochul. And I'm a constituent of yours, and I'm telling you, you're wrong. And you're playing to the heart, pulling the hearts of people to manipulate them and disarm decent, law-abiding people from carrying a firearm to protect themselves and their families and their property. You're on the wrong side of history. The only problem is it'll take 50 years before you realize it, and we'll all be gone by then. At least the older ones will. And there she is, posturing for votes and putting us at risk. Until the next time, goodbye and good luck.